Hey, it's Race Sundays. This is what our car looks like. Notice how I got the McLaren in there. So let's talk about this. So was a really interesting race. All right, so it was an interesting race. I mean, I'm joined by obviously our council of Piastris.
Council of
They got a little bit of an upgrade in this case here, but a council of Piastris.
It sounds like a less official thing. The Council of Bedard sounds like it was like a real thing when you were doing Council of Bedard during hockey.
True. Well, Council of Piastris, they're all PS.
I don't know.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, this was we were in Hungary this week. It was an interesting race. It was.
Well, first of all, we had a friend at the race, so we're waiting to find out the inside scoop.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. They came with us to the Indy. It was great.
Yeah.
This race featured a couple of changes, especially with the Alpha
Okay.
Tauri.
First, that's the big news.
Yeah, I mean that's the big news. We had Danny Rick, Mr. Guy Smiley. He's back in the in the whole F1 scene, and it was interesting because would he perform as good as well as Yuki Tsunoda?
The real question was not could he outperform De Vries. The real question was, and in fairness to De Vries, I think he got short shifted a little bit because as much as they're like you're not a rookie, he was a rookie, but we don't need to go in the backstory of all that stuff. If you're interested, go check out lots of discussion around how he got hired, how he got fired. But no, I think it was could he best Tsunoda. Most people consider him a much better driver. Tsunoda, he's an 8-time race winning. I don't even know how many podiums.
Formula E champion, and technically.
No, De Vries, Ricardo. I'm talking about.
Oh, Ricardo, yeah, Ricardo, absolutely.
Yeah. And so he should outperform Tsunoda, and so that was the question mark. And during the practices, looked a little wet, a little dry, wasn't looking whatever. But we get to qualifying, and I think the other important thing is qualifying had a new format.
True. Yeah, I mean, Q3 required, or sorry, Q.
So two things. One was Q tire. So they have a bunch of tires they use for practice qualifying. I don't think the tire count counts for practice, but for qualifying and races, they used to have 13 tires, and now to be environmentally friendly, they've gone down to 11. So some of them were going to use used tires, like gently used. But the other thing they changed for qualifying, which I liked, I thought was great, was you have to use hards in Q3, mediums in Q2, and softs in Q1, meaning everybody has the same tire strategy. So this is purely about how fast can you throw your car around the track.
And in Q3, the Alfa Romeos look fantastic in their hards.
Never mind in Q3.
They look like the rocket ship.
Q3, Q2, Q1, Alfa Romeo suddenly came alive. Q2, I believe, Guan Yu Zhou literally stuck it on the number one slot.
Right, but let's talk about Mr. Saturday. What happened to Mr. Saturday?
I think another qualifying.
he had his the only person that they talked about the gentleman's agreement. And I think the only person that enforced the gentleman's agreement was Mr. Saturday himself, George Russell, who actually started in 18th because he just got shafted.
Well, so they were trying, because of the new tire strategy, and just the size of that track, they didn't have a lot of time to go around the track. It's a 4.5 kilometer track, and they didn't have a lot of time. So it was a mad scramble at the end of Q3, bunch of them lining up to take their final flyer, and in fact his teammate Hamilton was backing it up a little bit. It wasn't just him. The guys in front of Hamilton were also backing up, but it's sort of the chain reaction started. So I think it was Leclerc was in front of Hamilton. He went, maybe Hamilton backed up, went. George was lining up to go next. And then a ton of people, as you were saying, didn't follow the gentleman's agreement of waiting and just
bypassed them and
shoved it up the inside.
And he got screwed over.
So he went out in Q1.
He went out in Q1. I mean, but let's talk about he went on Q3. Q1.
Q1 is the first.
Sorry, Q3.
Yeah.
I think you said the Q3 wasn't hard anyways, but whatever. But let's talk about who actually had pole position. Like
Lewis Hamilton.
He shocked everybody.
No, he wasn't a shock.
Oh, he shocked everybody.
He didn't shock everybody. It was not a shock.
I mean, I don't know.
He shocked you because you didn't want to practice.
If you looked at Maddie was shocked, and Maddie and Tommy were shocked.
No.
Shocked
Listen,
there. So
Hamilton loves that track. Hamilton was lighting it up in all the practices that he participated in. He was looking solid in qualifying. I mean, it was tight. Don't get me wrong. Max is in a rocket ship, but I thought if anywhere he was going to do it was going to be here, and he did.
Right. I think everyone was surprised too because I mean in practice Logan Sargent looked fantastic. So let's talk about who came in third.
Race.
Let's talk about the race.
Before we talk about who won, poor Guan Yu Zhou. So he puts it in 5th in qualifying. Race starts. He could not get his car going for that split second. Bunch of people dive around him. He gets the car going.
And he went bowling with Daniel Ricciardo.
And then he used Daniel Ricciardo's car as the ball to knock it in, and he split the Alpines essentially and
knock them both out.
So
obviously none of these will be Alpines.
Yeah. Guan Yu Zhou also fell, he was on my card and totally.
I'm really happy. So I actually substituted Gasly in all my cards for Piastri.
Yeah, that was.
And I got really lucky there. So
yeah. And then, anyways, Hamilton gets off the line, but Max is in a rocket ship. Max does what Max does best, shoves up the inside. But then Mr.
Piastri shoves it up in the second place. It's
he followed it through, and it was a tossy-turvy, and Norris puts it in 3rd. And Hamilton tumbles to 4th.
You see glances of how Piastri's could potentially.
I think if Piastri had been sitting in 1st or 2nd with Max beside him, I think they would have actually collided. I think the only reason Hamilton and Max didn't is because Hamilton's just like, nope, don't want none of that.
Yeah. So
who won?
Who won? Let's see. Let's look at number 3, and person that started in 9th. Obviously, he's Mr. Sunday to me.
Listen. People doubt Perez. They're talking Ricciardo's back and he's going to be replaced. But the reality is, Perez, tell me one other driver who's as good as Perez when he's behind to drive up through the field.
George Russell. We did it this Sunday.
Well, George has done it. Yeah. No, I know. But I'm just saying,
I know. He's a fantastic driver. And by the way, George Russell being out of these pictures here, drove from 18th to 6th.
Yeah.
That's like beaucoup points in terms of the fantasy. If you're looking for overtakes, fantastic, and in the points. So let's look at number 2. Lando, the papaya Norris.
I'm not gonna call him the papaya.
I'm gonna call him the papaya. He's great. So he's actually been doing pretty well this season, and obviously
Max
and his podcast.
He is inevitable.
So, it's.
And Lando broke his trophy.
Oh yeah, Lando in celebrating Max's victory.
His second place.
Yeah, his second place, but like celebrating Max, like celebrating in general.
Yeah.
Like takes his thing to pop the cork and smashes it on the podium and knocks over Verstappen's first
apparently
place,
he did
trophy.
it. I did not see the video, but apparently he did the exact same thing at Silverstone, and also knocked a trophy over. But at Silverstone, it was some big metallic strong trophy. Here it was a delicate vase.
Vase. Yeah, exactly. So why don't we talk about the rest of the race and we'll crack some packs here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the highlight for me was, other than Joe going bowling, which was really the only action, no safety cars, there was just nothing else going on after the beginning of the race. It was a boring race. Max was 30 seconds ahead when he won.
Max was thinking about what he was going to talk about on his podcast after
he was thinking about what he was going to talk about on his podcast.
Oh, let's talk about Leclerc here. Oh my God.
Pain,
it was brutal. Just like that 9.4 second pit stop, and he gets a penalty for speeding in the pits.
Yeah, it was just brutal. You know what? Leclerc needs to do what Sainz does, and poor Ocon. Out he went.
See, it's interesting. You talk about that. Like Leclerc. I feel like Leclerc and Norris are something like they don't really dictate to the crew. How they want to drive. Whereas Sainz,
to me, Sainz shows some of the elements that Hamilton and Max and George, and I don't know, we'll see with Oscar, show in their potential greatness or current greatness, and that the crew will be like, hey, we need, what do you think about this strategy? Come to the pits, and they'll be like, no, I don't think so. I'm not coming in. To the point that they'll ignore them sometimes and not come in. So they're Well, Norris did that once to his detriment, and I think that's why he won't do it again.
It's interesting. Norris actually gets frustrated because he's like, "Shut up, I'm driving."
No,
whereas
Yuki Tsunoda.
yeah, well, whereas Piastri's like, yeah, like Mr. like very calm,
when he
poised,
was shoved off the
track by
yeah. Listen, Piastri was very classy. And but I mean, I wanted to see him on the podium, but I also for my own team wanted Perez.
I think I don't know. I think they basically undercut Piastri with Norris. It's kind of weird. But the other weird thing was that looking at, I didn't quite understand. I mean, like the fact that Piastri was able to hold up in second for a while. But yet, in a heavy car with a bigger fuel load, but yet his car was sort of slower in the latter parts of the race where it's lighter.
The track got warmer and the tires were degrading faster. You saw how bad Max's tires looked at the end
He
of the
looks
race.
so different. Enzo versus when he's on it.
He's baby in that picture.
He's a baby in this picture.
He had a good race.
He did.
Not great race in F2, but he had an okay race.
Patronus team car. George Russell.
You didn't see any pictures of Toto this week.
I
don't remember seeing him. Maybe he popped up once.
I think he popped up during qualifying when he was kind of upset that George won. There you go. There's George. There's Toto.
We willed him into showing up. He's like, "You didn't see me. I'm coming."
I am making him a present.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get how. Like, maybe in the fantasy, if you'll notice that a lot, everyone will notice that a lot of people actually swapped out their Aston Martins for McLaren in their fantasy.
So basically,
cards.
this is the problem with fantasy because everybody has had the same team card. This is why there shouldn't be two constructors. Everyone's had the same team card the whole time. So if you try anything different than that, you're not going to be high. And then it's just come down to who was your fifth driver. And now everyone's going to have the same team card, but now it's going to be, instead of being Aston, double Red Bull, it's going to be double McLaren, double Red Bull if they have the money to do it.
Yeah. So
it's just going to be boring, people. Like, F1 needs to... The fantasy was way better last year, the way it functioned.
But it's weird that all of a sudden it seems like they just turned on dynamic pricing all of a sudden.
It's not dynamic pricing. What they changed was they had made this whole big thing about they're not doing dynamic pricing and they wouldn't increase or decrease people by more than 0.1 per week. Like 0.1 million per week, and then they changed their minds about that because it basically was giving nobody any money up or down. What is that?
Richard Vershawn.
Oh. Interesting.
I'm going to actually move the light a little bit.
It's just you can't see the pedards are like...
It's okay. Oh, it's Piastri's.
Piastri. Sorry.
Not pedards. Wrong sport.
You have your counsel.
Ooh. That's interesting. That's... Guan Yu Zhou, Rainbow Refractor rookie. I think that's an alternate art, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, he's showing elements of... There's guys that are always going to be back of field. There's guys that show like potential to be up there if they're in the right car. And then there's the guys who are really going to be like... I have no doubt, as much as Ricciardo's coming back and he wants to be world champion... I'm sorry, I don't think Ricciardo's ever going to be world champion. I don't think Norris is. I could be wrong, but I don't think Norris is.
I don't think Norris has the ability to tell him what to do. Norris, he goes, Lando, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you tell me what you want to do?
I'm not sure Leclerc, and I hate to say this because I love Ferrari, but I'm not sure Leclerc's ever going to be world champion either.
You willed him in.
I willed him in.
What are you talking about, Willis?
I know. But I think Piastri has the ability to be world champion, and I think George will be world champion, and I think Piastri will be world champion.
What's this?
Is that Latifi?
Oh no, it's Leclerc.
It's Leclerc. He's giving he's about to give me the finger.
Yeah, he's like F you. Like, what are you talking about? I can be world champion next.
All right, well then you need to tell your team what to do.
Exactly.
Like your smooth operator best buddy.
That's a neat card, Lewis.
He looks like he's levitating.
He is. He's like David Blaine here. He's just jumping off here.
Well, he is.
He's hovering.
He is 7-time world champion.
So
here's a question, and I heard some of the other commentators talking about this too. Like, does Max keep going till he has 7, or does Max get bored and does an Alonso and retires and goes off for a while and does some other racing and then comes back?
Well, that's a good question. Let us know what you think about that, and we'll see you in Spa next weekend. So have a great week, folks.